No, we're leaving!
I told you I can't. You go. I'll be alright, you'll see.
Well, please.
I can't leave her behind. Tell people what happened here, Cass.
Tell people what happened. So often our histories are rewritten. They do everything they can to hide their atrocities from the very beginning of our education. We can learn every terrible act any other country has done but our own. It's possible for you to seek out that information in this day and age on your own, but why would you if you're never taught there is something else to look elsewhere for? Why would you assume that you were never taught the whole story or even the true story? This is why art is important. This is why we tell stories. They can try to prime us for what they want us to know, but if stories are allowed to be told, one way or another, you will find the truth. Year after year, stories like 1984 and The Handmaid's Tale have persistent relevancy and remain not just important, but essential reading for this very reason.
This is the party's ultimate goal, to make us all deny the evidence of our senses. One day, the party will announce that 2 + 2 made 5, and we would all have to believe it. Freedom is holding on to memory, to truth. Freedom is the freedom to say 2 + 2 makes 4.
It's jarring that even in this day and age, with the expanse of the internet and the ability to immediately capture what we're seeing and share it with the world, we are still witnessing people willfully ignore what they're seeing with their own eyes, in favor of what somebody else is telling them is the truth.
The deadly incident that took place in Minnesota yesterday occurred as a result of a larger, sinister, left-wing movement.
These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism.
This was an act of domestic terrorism. These were, it appears to be, paid agitators.
This is a woman who was in severe crisis. She lived a very sad and very chaotic life.
You will find the truth, even if it's in a Star Wars show. A Star Wars show that is showing the Empire as it was always meant to be. A deadly fascist regime. Andor is telling events that have already played out, from the Peterloo Massacre to the Wannsee Conference, to the French Revolution and to Stalin as a whole. It's all based on real-world events. The Empire itself, from the very beginning, while played through the lens of a fantasy adventure story, was entirely based on the United States during the Vietnam War with elements of Nazism sprinkled in. George Lucas himself has gone on record stating that the Empire was based on the US during the Vietnam War.
The good guys are the rebels. They're using asymmetric warfare against a highly organized empire. I think we call those guys terrorists today. We call them Mujahideen, we call them Al-Qaeda.
When I did it, they were Viet Cong.
Exactly. So were you thinking of that at the time?
Yes.
The problem with that take on it, though, is that a lot of people are not media literate. That's not an insult, it's not a requirement to be so, it's just a fact. Some people have to be shown exactly what is happening. And that's what Andor did so well. It's not masking it under a sense of adventure. It's a gritty reenactment of these events with Star Wars elements loosely pasted over them. They might try to teach you what they want you to think of them. They might try to misdirect your anger. But so long as we have storytellers able to reenact these historical events in a way that you're able to willfully consume them and learn from them, the truth can never be taken away from you. Don't let them. Learn from history, and if needed, learn from art. History will always repeat itself, and at the moment, we're in the wonderful position to learn from it.
People are laying interpretations of this season on based upon modern political context. But you wrote this years ago, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, the digestive process is long on this. So it was written a long time ago. It was meant to come out a year ago without the strikes. Yeah, the answer is yes. It's not written from the headlines, but
so people find so there's an applicability. But what do you find about like this struggle against authoritarianism or rebellion that's happening in here? And as Mon Mothma talks about, you know, the death of truth being so dangerous. What's universal that's not of this time, but it speaks to something in the human experience that is not tied to this moment?
I think you can go back about 4,000 years and re-identify a whole bunch of different situations as fascism, and I think you can identify a whole bunch of different situations as rebellion and revolution. The technology obviously changes, and some of the methodology changes, but what's on the menu is essentially the same. And people who are oppressed and backed into a corner will only take so much until they go so far, and then something happens. And inevitably, the people who enable the fascism or the authoritarianism are the last people to get the joke that they're about to get fucked.
Right now, as protests ignite all across the world, people fighting against violent fascist regimes are flying a Jolly Roger sporting a straw hat. A pirate flag from an anime has become a symbol of rebellion, of freedom. An animated series about a pirate who sees people being oppressed and takes down the oppressor any way he sees necessary has embedded itself in reality, in the hearts and minds of those who saw the same oppressors reflected in their real-world situations and chose to do something about it. After experiencing the many protests in Louisville after the loss of Breonna Taylor and seeing firsthand the tactics the police laid out, seeing them swarm on us before curfew ever hit, seeing the young, inexperienced faces on their lines that were never truly meant to keep the peace, and then seeing how expertly they twisted the truth on the news night after night to get everyone else not a part of the cause to turn on us, rather than who they should actually be mad at? Despite the fact that I was right there on the front lines and watched as they threw tear gas and shot rubber pellets at a line of people standing silently, peacefully, before curfew hit, watching something like Andor just solidifies everything so much more. Learn from the stories you consume. Understand why what you're seeing makes you uncomfortable, and understand what the writers are trying to tell you about the world you live in. Because even in moments like this, with cameras and access to the internet in everybody's hands, they're telling you this isn't murder.
This is Gorman reaching for any open channel that can hear me. If you can hear me, if you believe in truth, if you have any faith left in truth, please mark this message and pass it forward. This is murder! The Empire built this fire. They made this fire and led us to the slaughter.